Davion. How are you today?
Man, I'm great. How are you?
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. I gotta tell you, we've been having a crazy, crazy start to this show with all the technology issues. It's been a crazy start, but you know what? I'm being positive and I'm manifesting a good show because that's who I am. And I'm
Yeah,
gonna keep on moving and I'm gonna keep it going either way.
got
But I'm glad to have you on board, Bots. I'm gonna leave the floor all to you because I know you have a lot of gems to drop for artists today, and you're a wealth of information and knowledge. So the floor is all yours.
well, I mean, I'm honored that you asked me to be here. So I was tuning in watching the last guy his what I could get from his poems, and I'm like, what am I don't I'm like, what do I do? Do I do a freestyle or what do I what do I
So today, just even the background, today was all intended to really bring artists and creatives together to give them a voice and platform so they can be heard and seen. And then having industry leaders like yourself, we had Susie on before, we have a couple more speakers coming on board to provide some gems and information and motivation for artists. Nowadays, artists have so many different lanes that they're going in. How do they stay persistent? How do they stay on top of their game? What are
right.
some strategies that you can help provide for artists?
Well, it's crazy that you talk about providing for artists, and today is a 2 year anniversary from when I started my event, the Cookout. Shout out to the Cookout, the Cookout, the Cookout. And what I wanted to do, man, I had a vision just to create a safe space for independent creatives to network, to work, to learn, to grow. And our mission statement is to educate and empower independence because I've been in the business almost 23 years, and I've worked with A-listers pretty much my whole career. And while that's cool, it brought me a lot of success. I started having a passion for the independents, the independent writers, the independent producers, the independent artists. And so what sparked it was I was at a writing session in Atlanta in 2020, right before the pandemic hit, like literally in February of 2020. And I was paid to come out there as a producer, and there was some A-list writers there, and it was about 15, 20 people who paid for the course or the class. And when they got there, man, these writers, the guys that had the success, man, they treated these people so bad, man. When I say I just sat there, I wanted to say something, but I knew my place. I know etiquette. I know I'm a hired help. It wasn't my event, and I would have been out of line, and I would have messed up my money, which I'm never gonna do. But at leaving that, it was a couple writers. One walked out, one start crying, and one just was like, "Man, I'm quitting music. What music is like?" And I'm like, "Man, these are people who paid y'all, and y'all talking to them crazy." They're like, "Well, how you don't know this? And you're supposed to be a writer. How you don't know this?" And so I came home with this like passion. It's like something stirred in me. Like, man, artists need to be able to go to the studio at least and feel safe and feel empowered and feel encouraged. And so I started, having these concepts, and then back pandemic hits. And it's like, well, ain't nobody, everybody shut down. The world is shut down right now, so you can't do it. But I had told one of my best friends, JoJo, about my vision. Like, man, I was in Atlanta and I was with so and so and so and so, and man, they talk so bad. He was like, well, create it. He's like, if there's not a lane for it, he's like, I know you create the lane. And I was like, you're right. So I literally wrote stuff down while I was at his house on this little tablet. Like, this is what I want the event to be. But the pandemic hit. So the beginning of 2021, me and JoJo always have like an accountability meeting. And it's like, what are your goals this year? And I told him my goals, and I didn't include the event I had talked about. And so he was like, what happened to that event you told me about? About, getting all these writers and artists together and helping them. I said, well, I mean, it's the pandemic. Ain't nobody gonna come to that. The world is shut down and we not even open yet. And he
Right.
stepped back and looked at me. He was like, man, bring Bottz back to the conversation. I'm like, what you mean? He's like, you don't never say you can't do nothing. He's like, I tell
Right.
everybody, if anybody's gonna encourage me, he's like, and you telling me you can't, and then that stirred me. And so literally the next day, I called a couple of the artists I was working with. I called a producer I was working with, and I had been going back and forth to Atlanta working with the same people who I did the writing camp with. So I knew I had a space to do it. I knew I had a location. I just didn't know what to do. So I called a couple people. Hey, I got this idea. You know, I can't pay for y'all to come. You know, but I think if you come, it'll be worth it. And literally, people was like, "I'm coming. I'm coming. You know, I want to come. I want to come." And so we did the first cookout. We did the first cookout at Icon Studios 2 years ago in Atlanta, and it was a huge success. Like we from that first initial cookout, we had 2 singles. We had one of the Real Housewives of Atlanta come through. We had Raz B pull up. We had Travis Terry, who was in there working with Mace at the time. He came in the studio. So it was a real good vibe. And so I told the people, we weren't a team or nothing. We just a bunch. Most of them were strangers. They had never met each other until they got to Atlanta, including me. And so I told them, I said, man, I think we're on to something. Like, let's do this again in another city. And I said, y'all down? And they were like, we down. So we planned to do it 2 months later in LA. So we ended up going in LA. And that's what really let me know we were doing the right thing, because LA had over 100 people pop up. And we went from 10 people in Atlanta, and within 2 months of just promo and networking, we had 100 people pull up in LA. And I was just like, this is it. Like this we on to it. We got to do it. This is it. And from there, we just start going from different cities, planning, finding studios, networking, and it just took off. And so the event now, you know, has well over 500 people who've come through in 2 years. We have an album we put out that's almost at 500,000 streams. We put out a mixtape that we've had sync placements and playlisting. From the Cookout album, we had 2 songs hit #1 on the Amazon charts. We got 4 videos we shot. It's a lot of success we've had in like 2 years. And so, I can't do it by myself. I have a great team that supports me and has supported me these last 2 years. And so, the Cookout that's what it is. It's for independents. It's an event by independent, because I'm an independent, for independents. And right. So, it's been a huge success, a very big success.
Yeah, and I learned a lot about the cookout, and I know you bring in all these artists together, and the camaraderie and the friendship of them coming together is how they're becoming so successful. And I didn't realize that you guys are teaching so many great things, and how artists learn. What are they learning from the cookout, from just being at the cookout?
Yeah, it's not, people just think it's just studio. And at first it was, but it's graduated to what my vision is, which is to educate and empower. So last year, we started the knowledge-based part of the cookout. So I invited Lewis King, who is an independent distributor who knows everything about publishing and copyrights and sync and all that. I invited some songwriters to help, people who wanted to learn how to orchestrate a song and how to learn what a bridge is and a beat melody and a pre-hook, who never knew none of that. And I had a producer's class that I taught, and we added this one coming up. We did a digital currency. We're teaching people how to make money through tech, how to fund your career through tech with NFTs and Bitcoin and all that. So we want to empower independents, because what people don't understand, independents are taking over the music industry. Really, they're taking over every industry. And so you need to know these now. You need to know these people. And it does my heart good to see people come into my event and they leave with 30 new followers. And within the next couple of weeks, I see them collaborating on stuff. So they've grown their network just by showing up to the event. So in education is definitely a part of the cookout. It's not just you coming and hanging out at the studio. I want to teach. I want you to. We had a standing room only with Lewis class at the winter cookout here in Houston. He had people just hanging out the room, learning about publishing, and people had their tablets out, and that's what they need. You're not going to succeed if you don't know that. So it's definitely an educational platform also.
Yeah, and I love that, the whole education part of it. That's definitely important. Now, in terms of, I know so many artists, they get on this journey of trying to pursue their artistry, and then they feel like they're not getting anywhere. They feel like that journey's just not moving, or it's taking too long. But it's so hard to stay humble throughout that journey. What are some tips or strategies that you can provide for artists to stay on that journey, no matter if they're not seeing what they expect to see, but how do they keep going?
One is stay hungry. You always have to stay hungry. When you're hungry, you can't be hungry and don't think you're not going to have some kind of success. And everybody has a different level of success that they're looking for. Everybody's not trying to be Beyonce or have a #1 hit. Some people, hey, I want to go on a tour. That's my goal. So you got to stay hungry for whatever goal you set. With that being said, you got to set goals. And then you got to invest. Nobody's going to give you nothing. Nobody's going to hand you a career. Nobody's going to hand you a chart topping record. Nobody's going to hand you a Grammy unless you win it. So you gotta invest, and that's, people always think that's money. No, you can invest so many more things. Invest your time. Go help somebody. Go help, go to the local college. If you know how to play piano, go to the old folks home and play for the old folks. You never know. It might be a 75-year-old woman there who say, hey, my granddaughter is a VP at such and such records. I want to introduce you to. You never know what knows anybody. And then the last part of that is just network. The more you network, the more your net worth becomes bigger. So I tell people all the time, your net worth is your network. So if you're not seeing the resources, not only money, but if you're not seeing the resources you desire, start meeting more people. Start networking with more people, because you can't make any more money if you don't have the right people that you network with. So that would be my advice.
Yeah, definitely a good network. I definitely love that in terms of the network. That's really important. Anything else you want to leave our listeners with, and everyone who's tuning in today? We're definitely going to have the replays available as well. I mean, you're just a wealth of information, Bottz, and I know going into your spaces on Clubhouse, you, Rothstein, and Jackie do such a great job of, putting the artists together and providing such information for them to get those opportunities to leverage. So we definitely want to make sure we're using you to our full advantage tonight.
Yeah, well, definitely shout out to my Clubhouse No Egos fam, man. I couldn't do anything I do without Auntie and Rothstein. I always make sure people know that that the thing we do on Clubhouse is amazing. Who would have thought 2 years ago, almost 3 years ago, it would be on the platform it is now? And we just want to help people. We plug people. That's what we do. We connect dots. Shout out to my team. I've had some that's been rocking with me from the jump. When I say the jump, the very first one. First, of course, my lady, Miss Delilah, she was at the inaugural. My sis, Brendolyn, and Sean, Misfit Beats, and Titanic, and Lawan Easton, and Corey Rennell, and man, it's so many people. KD, my boy KD, Steve-O. So that's my cookout fam who helped me make things happen. My assistant, my sister Katia, and her husband, who have been big supporters over the last year, man. The team is just excited. We're getting ready to go to LA. That's what I want to leave y'all with. Going to LA April 19th through the 21st. Tickets are on sale now. It is a ticketed event, but you don't want to miss it. We've got a comedy show. We've got a day party, because it's 420 for those of y'all who are 420 friendly. Of course, we got the studio portion. Then we got a free day. Then we got the studio portion again. So LA is going to be crazy. We got the classes that's happening in LA. So the tickets are available in my bio or the website at thecookout.com, ATTHE cookout, COOKOUT.com. Or you can go to my Instagram, dbottz, you beaten, DBOTTZ, YOUBEATIN, and click the link in my bio, and you'll see the first tab on the right is the spring cookout happening in LA. Shout out to Hush Money Studios. This is our 3rd year doing it in LA, so it's crazy. We're actually on our 3rd trip doing it. So shout out to Hush Money, who is hosting us, Chris and his team out there. We always have a good time. So that's what I'll leave y'all with. And go get the new single, Win. Y'all see it right there?
Oh yeah, that's locked in on my playlist, Bottz. You know that Win single. I love that song. I listen to it almost every day. That's a really great song. Before you go, tell us about that inspiration for that song. Actually,
it happened at the Cookout DMV last year. Rothstein was playing a beat, and it's the way the Cookout works. It's a collaborative effort. Every record is a collab, So there's about 7 to 8 to 10 artists in there ready to write and get a concept. So he's playing beats. He's playing some fire. He's playing monsters. And he plays that Win beat, but he only played like 15 seconds of it and tried to skip past it. I said, hey, go back to that beat. And he played it. And literally within 5 to 7 minutes, Allie Nicole, singing on the hook. She was like, Bottz, cut the mic on. I got a hook. And I was like, that quick? And she was like, yeah. So she goes in there, she spits the hook, and the whole room is just like wow, we winning. Let's do it. So then we get Titanic came in there, and Titanic's on the first verse, and Titanic writes her verse. It takes her about 20, 30 minutes. She's like, I'm ready, Bottz. Then Crown Vega was sitting there. He's like, yo, Bottz, I'm ready. That's how Crown talks. That's how he talks. So Crown coming there. Now, the last verse is the crazy part because the last verse is my bartender. But people don't know my bartender, Easy, can spit with the best of them. And so she was like, I called her in there because we was like, who gonna get on the third verse? Who gonna get on the third verse? And I was just sitting there, I'm listening to the beat. And I just have this, this thing where I can piece together the right people. And I looked and I turned and looked at Easy. I said, Easy, put the drinks down. Come here. And Easy comes in now and she just like, I've been listening. She tells me like, I've been listening for the last 30 minutes. I'm over there writing already. And she closed the song out. And I told him, I said, yo, this song is going to be motivation for people. And I literally work out to that on repeat and Monday through Friday because it's motivation. And who doesn't want to? And that's the message. Our message is all wins, no losses. No matter what happens this year, we're going to count it as a win. And so we're not losing this year. So it's a motivational record. It's on all platforms. Win with Crown Vega, Titanic, Allie Nicole, Easy, produced by Rothstein and myself. And you'll be a winner instead of a loser.
Yes, I love it. We're all winners, definitely. And I love the motivation behind it. You know what? I should have put that on today when we were having some trouble with the live stream earlier. I needed that song in my life. I gotta tell you, we were off to a rocky start, and that I stayed calm though. So that song definitely helped me.
Well, and this is your first time doing this, right?
No. I host a lot of online events, but every event, there's always something that goes wrong in the beginning, always something that happens in technology. So I'm kind of used to it. But what I say is that it's a learning experience. Everything that happens, I learn, I grow, I figure out how to make it better the next time around. So, I take it, I roll with the punches. I'm easygoing person. You gotta go with the flow. What are you gonna do? Be upset for the rest of the time? I can't. Gotta keep it moving, right?
I definitely appreciate the invite. I'm always trying to be on networks and I'm big on networking. So once you gave me the invite, I told my sister like, hey, you're gonna be getting some info. I got to get on this. I got to get on it. I say whatever I got to do to get on it because I had some other stuff working on today too. So I was like, I'm gonna be there. So when you told me the new time, I'm like, it's perfect. So, and anything
I definitely appreciate it. No, I definitely appreciate you coming on board, and it means a lot. I was talking about you earlier today in a clubhouse room. We were saying that how you guys don't get the credit that you deserve for being the people that you are, especially on Clubhouse. You've really paved the way for so many artists. You've really done so much for other people. And I was talking about how you coming onto this event and collaborating with me, and that I appreciate that. You didn't have to say yes because I know you're a busy person, but you did. And the value that you dropped here tonight, it's gonna help so many other people who are listening into the replays today. So my gratitude is all to you, Bottz. I appreciate you. Thank you for coming on board today.
Gratitude right back to you. Thank you.
Thank you. There you go. We got D-Bottz in the house. Appreciate you. How can everybody find you before you leave? Where can they support you at?
I'm on Instagram. Instagram is my main thing. Like I said, D-Bottz you beaten, DBOTTZ YOUBEATIN. I made a TikTok at the end of last year. I really haven't got into it yet. It's the same thing, D-Bottz you beaten. Twitter is where I do like some of my rants while I'm at the gym. I don't really get on there a lot, but that's the same thing, D-Bottz you beaten. I'm on Facebook as Davion Bottz. I do have a full friends list, so you can follow me on there, but I don't really post a lot on there. I post just enough. And my website, bottsworldmusic.com or at thecookout.com. And you can leave me. I get all the info. My assistant does a good job of giving me the messages. Somebody hit me up, somebody sent me this or invite or link or whatever. She lets me know, and we're pretty fast in responding. So those are my socials. So holla at your boy.
Yes, go check out Bottz. Definitely appreciate you. Go check him out on Clubhouse. Networking, no egos. Thank you again, Bots. Enjoy the rest of your night and
Thank
weekend, and
you.
we definitely appreciate you for being here.